Cool. We'll start off with ape trading. Ape trading went pretty good. Nothing crazy. Uh, it was a little bit different than expected uh, in terms of how it released. So, like, all of the different inputs we put into how we were going to trade was relating to how distribution would go. And the way it was distributed was, pretty much exactly how we planned for it. 10,000 ape tokens for apes, mutants get less, dogs get less than that. Unlimited, claim window. But never, in a million years expected instantly to be listed on Coinbase, instantly to be listed on Binance and every major exchange that there is, which kind of killed volatility. It launched at like about $6. People were selling initially. People who didn't plan to hold long term sold at about five. I mean not five, about $5.50, $7. Then it went up to about 14, 13, something like that. Whatever it was, it might have even gone to 20, but the liquidity was so low that nobody was really able to sell that much at that point. But the major point right here is that it was a lot less volatile than expected. And that's just because of how it was split. Nobody really had a solid grasp on where and how to trade it. The first day had about $8 billion in volume, though that's not real. I would say about 4 billion, 3 billion, about 3 billion maybe was real, not the 8. Exchanges can, backdoor trade and no fees to pump up the volume. But on Uniswap, which is the best teller, it had about $500 million of volume the first day with a 1% fee on the liquidity pool. So 1% of every transaction went to people who liquidity provided APE and Ethereum. So that's real volume, $500 million, $5 million to providers. There's, hardly any wash trading there, if any at all. And 500 million for ape token on first day, it wasn't too much, but the entire volume was 3 billion, and it was just all spread out across the place. So, long story short, volatility wasn't the greatest. We opened, at the time, I think it was about a about $330,000 position or 120 Ethereum. We at about $7-8, and then we sold it around 11 for about $120,000 profit first day. We could have traded a little bit higher. We could have sold it at our targets, but it was an all-day thing. For myself personally, it started at like 8 a.m. trading, and by the time it was 4 a.m. or 3 a.m. my time, it was like $11, and our price target was always 13, 14. But didn't want to catch the dip overnight, so sold there 120. We recently opened a position at $10 for about $50,000 worth, and that's up 30%. So another 15,000 there. So all in all, from APE, we're up about 140,000. But expected a lot more. Still expecting more to come. It's not over. APE will be volatile. APE will either move to the upside or the downside. We'll still be trading that with large volume. Just at the moment, because of how spread out the liquidity is, and how uncertain what the next utility will be for APE. Will we be able to buy land with it? Will we not? Because if we can buy land with, if the landfill is kind of like Sandbox, where you can only buy the land with APE token, then APE will for sure move. They plan on selling $140 million worth of plots, and I believe there's only $2 billion worth of APE tokens, so that's going to be quite insane. Not a lot of people are even going to want to sell it, and for the most part, it's in the hands of apes, and people who have bought it this price or even higher. So that's it for ape token. A little underwhelming, just a little bit on my end, but it was just as expected, and there is more cycles of pumps for the ape token. as far as that goes, that's where we're at. And I think we'll get more into the market and NFTs in a little bit later on. But for now, we can move on to what we've been working on the website. Boggartt, do you want to take that one over?
Yeah, sweet. So yeah, we will dig more into the market and stuff later, but we did want to catch you guys up. Our website redesign is still in progress, shipping an entirely new dashboard for each of our, planets or investment branches, new charts on there, as well as a new reflections calculator that lets you sort of estimate your earnings from reflections relative to treasury size. That's all, being designed right now. Next to that, our focus right now is on the Alpha Pass, which up to right now we've been calling the Alpha Pass, but to reveal a name to you, we are calling it the Consortium Key. And so right now, development focus and development is on the Consortium Key, which, as we've mentioned before, are comprehensive alerts for all the most useful info in the space. We're building out the website right now, the smart contracts for the NFT, getting the whitelist stuff ready, reaching out to other communities to get that going. So our focus right now is largely on the consortium key. And also, we're going to start shipping out some more educational content. We would love to be a resource for people onboarding people into crypto and NFTs, sort of understanding what ACYC is doing already, making that stuff accessible to people, through our manual reflections and profit sharing. The next step is actually just educating people because we have a lot of experience in the space, so we're going to be putting out more resources like that as well as we move forward. Um, Next to that, we're restructuring to prepare to open positions in our longer term play to earn plays. As we've mentioned before, we think there's going to be a play to earn summer, the same way we saw DeFi summer. Um, Play to earn is essentially just DeFi with more fun. And we think it's gonna take off in the next couple of years. So we're gonna pack some serious bags because understanding that ACYC is here for the long term, that means making some super long-term bets on things that we think will be really lucrative investments over time. Next to that, Penny has been doing a great job farming right now. He opened some calls on ETH around 2.5K. Those are super in the money right now. Um, as well as investing in the Stargate ecosystem, which is up, over 70, 80%, I think, since he opened his position. I know we've taken some profits off the table at that point, as it's, already kind of mooned a little bit without staking even being introduced. So our investments are going really well. We're playing it kind of moderately, given the conditions of the market, but overall, we're doing very well and planning ahead for the future. So next to that, I think it kind of plays right into how we're feeling about the overall market, which is super interesting. Nate, maybe you want to dig into that, considering APE and the upcoming land sale, maybe we could talk more now about the larger market for them.
Yeah, this is it's like an awkward point. It's like there's a lot of weight on uh, not steel, not a steel made material, but not a wooden made material. So it's not like the market's about to break as if it was wood. It's pretty strong like steel, but it's not steel. And what all that means is we're kind of like a slingshot at the moment, where Bitcoin went to 60, 70K, Ethereum went to 4,400, 4,500, and we just kept getting pulled back and back and back, and we wanted to go forward a little bit, but for the most part, it was just pulling back on the slingshot. And right now, we're at a point where we're as far back as we can go. You know, in terms of the analogy, imagine that the slingshot is made out of like, a woodish steel. So it's not wood, it's not steel, it's strong, but it can break. Um, so imagine that, and you're pulling back very as far as it goes. The string literally won't go any further, and your arm gets tired, so you start to let up a little bit, but you want to pull back again. You're actually trying to break the slingshot. We're at a point where like whoever's arm is holding the string on the slingshot kind of got tired. It just got tired a little bit. Everything goes a little bit forward, and then he gets his energy, pulls it back, goes a little forward, and this is kind of like the relief bounce in the market across coins and NFTs, where his arm is very tired, but he's pissed off. Whoever's controlling the slingshot is super pissed, and if he does get the energy to pull back, again with all of his might, he will break the slingshot. And that's kind of the market. If this guy's done, if he's tired, if he's out, then we're going to go forward. He's going to slowly release over time. It's not going to be like he's going to let go of the string and it's going to go forward. He's going to slowly bring his arm forward. But in short, for that analogy, if crypto, and NFTs don't make this the relief bounce that breaks the slingshotter's arm, then we're gonna break. We're gonna break. Uh, and I really don't see any news that can cause that at the moment. So it does feel like everything's gonna be propped up and keep going. And with that mindset like in your head, we're entry stage where it's proper to take profits into USD. And because even when you guys heard me talking about APE token, I talked about 130,000. I talked about 300,000. I did not talk about how much an ETH it was, because right now we're getting out of the point where you shouldn't. It's not a good idea to think in ETH terms, but more so a good idea to think in US dollars terms. And that might also be why our recent buy on APE was a little bit smaller. We bought some more for I think 50,000, which is, when you put in ETH terms, only like 18 ETH. Whereas originally we were using 130 ETH, which was 330,000. Because right now we're looking in US dollars terms. Because the markets will stay volatile, there'll always be money to be made, but we have to be aware that if this isn't like a permanent thing, or a short-term permanent thing, so for the next few months, if this bounce isn't for the next few months, like if we have one more bearish catalyst, which they can always come out of nowhere, or we know they're coming. If we don't have any more bearish catalysts, then this is where all the money will be made. Meme coins, DeFi. I wouldn't really look at NFTs. NFTs is not something I'd have my focus on. You can make some money there for sure, but the only reason we were majorly looking at NFTs was because Bored Apes with their ape token, and anything play to earn. But still, would not be looking at NFTs completely right now. I know Azuki did go from like what feels like 10 to 17 ETH in an hour or a day or a few days or a week. It's still a choppy place to be. So mainly I'd be looking at, we're looking at DeFi and meme tokens again. A good mix of them. I don't know how many people are familiar with shitcoins, but in Wall Street Kongs and in our Discord as well, I've been mentioning Stilton Musk. This isn't a shell to go buy it. It's just a low cap meme coin funny guy who runs it. He's dedicated. He builds content. He sent a piece of cheese to space. And over the last month, that's gone from a 4 mil market cap to a 31 mil market cap. So a nice little 9x. And that's where you would throw in a small bag. You wouldn't, put even 20% of what you're holding into it, but you'd buy those small bag gems during that time and even during this time, and let them ride. I really don't think the market's dead, because if it is dead, then it's dead for a while. So there's more profit to be made on the way up right now, I believe. And so looking at DeFi plays like Metis, Ohm, Butterfly, the list goes on. You can keep going. Those are the ones I'm looking at. If you look at the charts for Butterfly and Ohm, they're getting what seems to be basically a reversal. I wouldn't even call it a bounce because they've been sideways for the longest time. Butterfly's been ranging from $100 to $150 for the last couple months, when its top was like 4,000. So it was down like 95%, 97% from the top of what was literally just a month prior to that as well. So that's up from about $120 to $200 over the last 4 days. Ohm is up from its bottom of $30 to $36 right now. That's only a 20% gain. This is like the pivotal point for a lot of investors too. ACYC not so much, because we won't be setting the bank on this as much. We have.
Oh, we lost Nate for a second. It's all right. Yeah, I would also say with the upcoming ape land drop, that's another reason, to kind of be a little more on the fence with NFTs right now. I think there's going to be a lot of liquidity going there in the market. So kind of smart to hedge your bets, play it safe. I think, NFTs, we're not seeing much sustained price action. We're seeing a lot of short-term pumps, a lot of speculative purchases based on rumors, things like that. So we're not looking to open really many NFT positions next to play to earn stuff. Yeah.
Cool.
Sweet, Nate, you're back.
Yeah, I agree. That's pretty much how I'd sum that up too. Is like right now, look for good risk to reward plays. So for why I was mentioning Ohm topped at like $2,000, I think. I don't know, a huge number. And it's $30 now. I think its top was like 10 bill market cap. Right now, the market cap is 500 mil, so it's got a 20x to the top. And a lot of things are up 2x right now. A lot of things are up 80% from the bottom. Like looks rare token, that's up from 70 cents to almost $2 right now. That's 3x. Ohm is only up 20%. It's one of those things where if you haven't had any positions in like stuff like Stilton that I was mentioning, or if your stuff hasn't mooned yet, then that's a good risk to reward play where you can put some money into Ohm. If it goes back down 20% to the bottom, wow, you're out 20%. If it even goes up to, the recent bottom, the recent top of like the last month, then that's a 3x from here. So those are things I'd be looking at. I would not be looking at NFTs. You're not gonna, in my opinion, you're not gonna miss the next Bored Ape Yacht Club over the next few months if you look away from NFTs. Though, if I were to be somebody who wanted to buy some NFTs to look away from for a while, I think CloneX is the one. There's 20,000 mutants. Mutants got to a top of like $28,000. 28 Ethereum. 20,000 mutants, 28 Ethereum top. They're 20,000 CloneX, and right now they're 15 Ethereum. So, that's mutants with Bored Apes, with Kennel Club, that giant collection, and the CloneX floor, 20,000 Takashi Murakami, Nike, all those names. 15 Ethereum floor sounds like a no-brainer to buy and hold if I were somebody who wanted to stay in NFTs. Otherwise, cyberkongs, but everything else, it's going to go up, it's going to go down. Shit, maybe even Meebits. But yeah, so we're not going to be investing heavily into NFTs. Maybe if we see a solid play, but the land sale, and it's not even just the land sale itself for Ape. It's the president it'll set. We'll see a bunch of collections doing land sales and trying to be the next metaverse play. And all of that in general will just be another huge liquidity suck and probably not much money to be made. Maybe like one or two flips on the land. Maybe, the land comes out, it's super high, it goes down, people buy, and then it goes back up. That'd be us. We'd be the people buying the dip. Other than that, not really looking at it. But yeah, our major focus is on pivoting into an educational, project with while raising funds to invest into play to earn and some meme coins. I still believe I still think it's so early for. If I was a fund of any sort, I'd have 2% of my money uh, in meme coins. I don't care if I'm a $1 billion fund. I'd put a few $1,000,000 into meme coins because those are the most assured things to happen. Is if you buy and keep DCAing on a meme coin, you'll get 10x. Just got to DCA enough, and you just got to hold long enough. Other than that, that's pretty much the feelings on the market at this moment. Yeah. If we get like a prolonged, crab sideways, if Ethereum just wants to crab from let's say 2,800 to 3,400, then we'll see a lot of 10x and 100x opportunities. But if it goes back down, then I would be pretty ruthless with listing like everything, because that just means that we're going to have a lot of low volume because we've had so.
I think we lost Nate again. Oh, You there, Nate?
Yeah, that's all I had to say for the market
Sweet.
at the moment.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of where we're sitting and how we're positioning ourselves. As Nate said, we're sort of using this time to focus on educational content, developing the consortium key, and positioning ourselves to open up, some positions in play to earn. Next to that, I think, we could take a few questions from you guys if you do have any. I see someone with a nice mutant raising their hand. Logan, we'll bring you up. Hey, you should be good. Logan, you're good to go if you got a question. We lost him. It's okay. If anyone else has any questions, feel free to raise your hand. We'll bring you up as a speaker. Uh, Anything about, ACYC or the market, whatever it is, we're happy to answer some questions. Otherwise, we can close it up and we're always in our Discord. Okay, Crispy. Let's bring you up. Sweet, you should be good to go, Crispy.
All right, thanks, guys. So I'm glad that we now have an official name for the Alpha Pass. I've been waiting for this. I'm really excited for it. What are you guys thinking as far as time frame? Because I know that you've said late April, maybe May. Just curious if there's any update there.
Yeah, that's about the time frame we're shooting for. Is that we are still on track for that. So as I said, right now we're doing the smart contracts and the website and sort of the branding, and we're aiming for a release around then.
Okay, cool. And then one other question. So can you give a little better explanation on some of the benefits that you can reap from the Alpha Pass in regards to like the treasury and how you might be able to profit from that?
Yeah, so that function of the consortium key will be added later when we first do our initial release for it. It will be just for access to the server that we are building out, which has all sorts of alerts, not only on wallets and mint alerts, but also things related to Twitter, people following certain people, all sorts of little goodies that we use to help inform our own investments as well. So that's sort of the jumping off point for it.
Okay, gotcha. And then the treasury stuff will be down the line. Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Cool. Well, keep up the good work, guys. I'm holding, and this long-term play for me. Thanks for
Sweet.
keeping up on the
Yeah,
spaces,
thanks for
and
coming up.
stoked. See ya.
Awesome. Yeah, sweet. Yeah, if anyone else has any questions, feel free to raise your hand. Otherwise, we could just wrap this one up. It was a nice short spaces. Got to cover APE, what we're working on. As I said, consortium key is really the focus right now. And, just positioning ourselves for the long term, because that's what we're here for. So, yeah, I think we can wrap it up, right, Nate? Unless you have anything to add.
Yeah, that's all from my end. Same thing. I think we'll have a lot of content going forward, regardless of what happens in the market. If the market is slow, then we'll have a lot of content in terms of what we're building for the play to earn and Alpha Pass. But if the market's fast, then we'll have a lot to talk about in regards to trading. Because if the market's good, we'll have another 2 months, 3 months of just nonstop action.
Sweet. Yeah. So I think we will wrap it up there, guys. Again, the spaces will be on our YouTube shortly. We will have summaries written up. If you want to listen back, you can. And thank you all for tuning in.